Hello everyone. Welcome to Happy Science Meditation Seminar. I'm Bob Imai, Minister of Happy Science. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, let me recite Prayer to the Lord. Prayer to the Lord. Our Lord, El Cantara, you are the source of all light, all power, all wisdom, and all love. May you give us light, give us power, give us wisdom, and give us love. O Lord, our Father, please protect this plant of love earth. Protect us from all evil, and open a future for us. O Lord, thank you for giving us light. We give thanks from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you again for joining us today. From this September, I like to choose the subject on the truth. Studying the truth is our discipline. So let us learn from the fundamental teaching of Happy Science. So let's begin. Today's subject is the exploration of the right mind. In Happy Science, we learn the teachings and practice to become happy. When someone asks, "What is happiness?" everyone would give different answers. For example, it may be building a new house, getting married, having a new baby, having the time with family, having a job, becoming rich, buying a new car, going on a trip, falling in love, and so on. However, no matter how hard we try to earn more money and look for love in order to be happy, we often end up suffering. The more we want, the farther happiness goes away with the pain of being unable to obtain what we want, pain of comparing ourselves with others, and pain of losing things. In Happy Science, we learn that the mind is the starting point of everything. That true happiness is not anything that you can seek from others and environment, but it is something that you can create from your mind. The first teaching that you learn in Happy Science is the exploration of the right mind. The right mind is the way of thinking to become happy. If you know what kind of thought makes you unhappy and what kind of thought makes you happy, anyone can become happy from any sort of circumstances. We tend to look for reasons of our unhappiness in something other than ourselves, thinking, "I am not happy because my work is not good. I am unhappy because my boss is a terrible person. And I am so unhappy because my family doesn't love me." However, there is such things as the laws of mind. The truth is that our thoughts are expressed in our words and actions and determine our course of life. You may have thought that you are unhappy because of others' fault and environment. But what has been causing your sense of unhappiness was nothing but yourself. It is understandable to think that you want to change others and environment that cause you unhappiness. But you can't change others and environment. However, you can control your own mind. So the true method to become happy is to change your own mind. The exploration of the right mind is indeed to change your wrong mind that makes you unhappy to the right mind. It is a training for the members of Happy Science to always explore the right mind. You are the person who knows what you are thinking. Of course, God knows it, and your guardian spirit also knows it. From the spirit world, your thoughts are all revealed to everyone. But it cannot be seen by people in this world. What would you feel if all of your thoughts are seen from others, as if they are displayed in a glass case? In fact, the spirit world is the world of thought, and all your thoughts are transparent to everyone else. Thoughts and feelings directly convey to each other. Even in this world, anyone who has some basic sense of morality would not speak ill of someone right in front of the person. Or you wouldn't steal merchandise from a shop simply because you want it. Or you wouldn't punch others simply because you are upset. Of course, these are actually things that happen in our daily life. Yet, basically, we have self-discipline against those behaviors. However, how about what we think inside of the mind? Since no one sees thoughts of our mind, we rarely have self-control for what we think. The exploration of the right mind is, after all, to understand that our thoughts are transparent to others, and control our thought in the light of God's mind by deciding what thoughts we should and we shouldn't have. If you make efforts to look into your mind and make it closer to God's mind, even if one is watching you, you can say that you are exploring the right mind. The life of a Happy Science believer is to live with the right mind every day. So you will make yourself and others happy. Before you go to bed, reflect on your day and check if your mind was in accordance with the God's heart. In this way, if you continue to explore the right mind every day, your mind will definitely change. The right mind is the mind that brings you happiness. So, as you explore the right mind every day, you will become happier and happier. Now, let us learn this from my example of Hiromi Kawai's story. Hiromi had suffered her child's disability for a long time, but she overcame her problem by exploring the right mind. Please watch.
This is the story of Mrs. Hiromi Kawai from the IRH Shonan branch. Through practicing Buddha's truth, Hiromi and her family could overcome their sadness over their son's disability. Tatsuya's legs were deformed since birth. Hiromi first noticed that something was wrong when Tatsuya was 10 months old. When I changed his diaper, I noticed that his legs hardly moved and didn't respond to touch. I thought something must be wrong. Then we began to visit various hospitals. We even had a CT scan done, but the doctors couldn't determine the cause. It seemed there was no treatment. The doctors had no idea what to do. If there was no cure, I thought, I have to find the answer myself. I thought, why my son? I didn't want to accept that this was happening. I thought, this must be just a dream or a nightmare. Though everyday life went on, I still couldn't accept it. I began to focus on the unhappiness of others, so I wouldn't feel so bad about our own situation. I thought our family was suffering with a disabled loved one, but I found others were also unhappy. Some people were so miserable. I felt better. I even was relieved that things weren't so bad for us. My son's legs may be disabled, but at least the relationship between my husband and I, and between our children and our mother-in-law is good. Whereas other families suffered on that point. So, we're still not that bad. Our situation is much better than others. I was trying to think and compare in this way, so I found myself always seeking out the unhappiness of others. Then I started to look for families with the same feelings of unhappiness, but realized again, we're not so bad. Maybe I'll try to be more positive. Looking back, I know it took me 1 or 2 years to change completely. I had to accept that life is a workbook, but I still tried to find a cure for Tatsuya's disability. I wanted to get rid of it. I knew that Tatsuya planned his life this way before he was born, but I still couldn't accept it. And I worked really hard to do physical therapy with him. The first 3 months of therapy or rehabilitation proved hopeless. Even though I was reading Buddha's truth, I still couldn't accept our situation. I lost all hope and couldn't do anything. I couldn't even open an IRH book. I lost track of the days and the hours. Then I realized, this isn't right, I've got to change. My husband also told me, don't be depressed, that's enough. I knew I had to get over my depression because we have a daughter too, and I had to be a mother. After that, I felt I wanted to read IRH books again. So I started reading Unshakable Mind one more time. Though I had read it before, I tried to read it with a new perspective. I thought, my life is like a workbook. At the hospital, they didn't seem to have an answer, so I had the feeling that I had to take this problem as my own workbook and look ahead to solve the problem. I thought, I don't know how, I don't know, but I feel I must try. I started making an effort to practice the truth, sharing it with my friends, even though it was sometimes difficult. When I conveyed the truth and made efforts like this, I realized I became happy. And without even realizing it, I had already begun sharing the truth with my family by talking about my experiences. I would talk about my days sharing the truth with my friends, like, today this happened and my friend said this. So I guess my children heard my words and remembered them. They seemed to become happier. Then I was so surprised when I heard my son and daughter naturally use words of Buddha's truth. Huh? When did you learn those words? I asked. And they told me, you said them, Mom. So I realized that my family started using all the positive words I had been using. I realized I myself had become more positive through my kids' conversation. Until then, my son didn't think there was anything different about his legs. Being so young, he thought it was natural. He was too young to compare himself with others. But I knew that the time was coming when he would enter kindergarten and start to compare himself with others. So when he started to attend school, I readied myself for him to mention something. Soon, sports day was coming up, and I knew he might say he wanted to avoid it. 10 days before the event, Tatsuya was getting ready for school as usual. And sure enough, he suddenly said, "I don't want to go to school." Listening to him, I wondered, how can I help him? What can I say to encourage his soul? I wondered what he needed in this life. Should I give him a loving hug, protective as always, and tell him, "It's okay, you don't have to go, you don't have to if you don't want to"? But I also thought I should be strong and encourage him and be courageous. I was just going to give him a hug when suddenly I heard these words in my mind. "You made a promise with him when you were in heaven. Which way will you choose? Will you lose yourself and make your son weaker? Or will you think about how you will encourage others?" Then I thought about my son's friend who has asthma and who was absent from kindergarten a lot. The friend always said, "I can't go to school tomorrow because of my asthma." So I told Tatsuya, there are a lot of children with sicknesses, but they're trying hard in everything. If you try to do your best and run as best as you can, all the kids will be inspired and be filled with courage and appreciate you. Then Tatsuya was quiet for about a minute or two, and then he said, "Yeah, I was born to give courage to others, so I'm going to do my best." Hearing these words, I thought, wow, that's great. And I could feel that everybody has Buddha nature, or that the same greatness of Buddha exists in everyone. A year has passed. Right now he's in first grade. And at the recent sports day, most people in the neighborhood already knew about Tatsuya's disability. This time, I didn't worry at all about Tatsuya and his participation. At the event, I thought some parents around me might think I would get upset, but I felt I was watching my son as a normal parent. And Tatsuya didn't avoid running the races. He said, "I know I'm going to be the last one, but I'll run to the end." And I recorded with the video camera just normally. My neighbors were happy to watch and made an effort to see him participate in events like the dancing, even though their own kids weren't in it. Tatsuya enjoyed his part and tried so hard that everyone was moved and wanted to watch. I noticed and I asked some parents, "Your child isn't in this event, but who are you watching?" Then I found they were watching my son. I looked at their faces and saw that they were moved to tears. These parents seemed so impressed and asked, "Why does Tatsuya have so much energy? He's dancing with such a bright, smiling face, brighter than anyone. Who is that kid?" I realized that everyone understood and was impressed by him. I could feel that Tatsuya had a bright aura. When I looked at him dancing, he looked so happy, so innocent and full of energy. I knew then that Tatsuya was born with various missions in this world, and people are moved even just watching him dance. I felt so grateful. When I came home, I went straight to the altar and said, "Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful child. Thank you for our promise to improve our souls together." Life is like a workbook. Mrs. Kawai believed in Buddha's truth and put it into practice. She was able to overcome her problems and she could find happiness. The Kawai family is filled with brightness due to Tatsuya's smiling face, and their home has become a utopia. Happiness of the heart comes from living a spiritual life with faith. This happiness is a true happiness that never fades away.
How was Hiromi's testimony? Hiromi had a profound discovery when he looked into her mind regarding her son. Hiromi had a strong wish to overcome Tatsuya's disability so he can live with a healthy body just like any other children. However, although she thought she was wishing for Tatsuya's happiness, it seems that she thought in the depth of her mind that if there were no disability in Tatsuya's leg, she could have been happier. For Hiromi, before she knew, Tatsuya's handicap became her pain, and the solution for the pain was to cure Tatsuya's leg. So whenever she heard about better treatment, she tried and she changed hospitals one after another. However, when she saw Tatsuya's running cheerfully in the school's athletic festival, her mind changed. Tatsuya didn't care about his leg. He was running with all his might. His spirit touches the heart of all the people. Looking how he inspired people by being himself, Hiromi realized her mistakes. Hiromi was feeling that his disability was the reason for their unhappiness. But Hiromi found out that the true happiness is not the physical health itself, but to be a person who can give happiness to others as a child of God, as Tetsuya was. After all, the essence of the problem was not Tatsuya's leg, but it was Hiromi's mindset that decided whether she was happy or not by external conditions, such as Tetsuya's physical condition and other people's eyes. Even if you have a physical handicap, it is your choice whether you make it reason for your unhappiness or not. We all can become happy when we give love to others regardless of our given conditions of life. Looking from the perspective of the exploration of the right mind, the thought that if Tetsuya's leg is cured, I can become happy is the mind that leads to unhappiness. However, if you can think that whatever your physical condition may be, there is always something you can do. So you will do whatever you can to bring happiness to others. And then you have the right mind that leads to happiness. This is an important point. Tatsuya's leg problem was his soul training that he chose before he was born. At the same time, it was important soul training for Hiromi, who chose to be his mother. While there was not much hope for the cure, Hiromi had been attached to it. It is very much understandable. But those who are born with certain disability purposefully chose their life conditions, and their purpose is to convey others something important about life by giving happiness despite their handicaps. Every suffering has its meaning. It is important to try to solve the problem, but first we need to explore the right mind by looking into our mind. The exploration of the right mind is to have the mindset that leads to happiness. It is to stop our habit of looking at the reason for our unhappiness and redirect ourselves to look for reason for happiness. You learn how to look for reason for happiness in Happy Science. You can be happy or unhappy depending on how you think. So in Happy Science, you learn the laws of the mind. Like if you have this kind of mindset, you become happy. And if you this kind of mindset, you become happy. In other words, you learn the rules that God created. In order to practice the exploration of the right mind, Master Okawa teaches the Fourfold Path, or the principles of happiness, of love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress. So it is necessary to study and practice the Fourfold Path in order to attain the true happiness. Now let us practice the exploration of the right mind. Think about your present situation. Do you feel unhappiness or happiness in your situation? If you are struggling in your situation, please accept the present situation and think about the right mind. If you feel happiness at present situation, please think about if your happiness is worldly one or spiritual one. Are you giving love to the others? So, let us start the contemplation. Please begin. Please end your contemplation. How was the exploration of the right mind? The exploration of the right mind is to have the mindset that leads to happiness. It is to stop our habit of looking at the reasons for our unhappiness and redirect ourselves to look for reasons for happiness. Now let us practice meditation. Meditation of happiness. In order to make yourself happy, it is good to remember the happy moments in your life. Firstly, let us recite prayer to guardian and guiding spirit. Prayer to guardian and guiding spirits. My guardian and guiding spirits, deep inside of me, you are the fountain of life, the light of hope, the source of wisdom, and the shield of courage. Every day, may you help me develop my soul and refine my mind. Every day, may you give me inspiration and show me the right path to follow. Please protect me from all evil and guide me in living a better life. For this, I give my thanks. Now, please begin the meditation. Just follow the guidance of Master Okawa.
Well then, we will now begin our happiness meditation. There will be no divisions by life period this time. I would like you to find a moment in which you felt powerfully happy, or to find a moment of joy that you have overlooked. Cast your eyes all along the flowing river. I bet that no one noticed if a clean spring is gurgling up from the river bottom. You'd always wondered where the water in the river had flowed from. But in truth, the water arises from the bottom of the river. We don't know if it comes from outside, but we do know that it's flowing into the river. In this way, in your own life, there have undoubtedly been words and actions offered to you in support. I want you not to lose sight of this. I want you to know them as the joys of your soul. This is the object. So then, again, regulate your breathing. Stretch out your backs. Control your respiration and lightly close your eyes. Look back on your past and recall each moment of joy. And if you find someone whom you owe them a debt of gratitude, then within your heart say thank you to them now. Please begin. All right, please stop. Positive thinking seems to be very different from self-reflection. You will see that meditating on positive thinking turns out to be not so different from self-reflection after all. We've been doing happiness meditation, but there are so many of you crying. Strangely enough, you were supposed to have been happy, yet you're crying. I think it's proof that from whichever angle you attack it, you would eventually wind up at the same place.
Thank you, Master Ogawa. How was the meditation? You remembered your happy moments? I hope that made you happy. Master Oga's teachings, spiritual truth, is the love of God, which is trying to make you happy. If you can become happier, that is a proof of love from God. Please study the truth and put it into practice. Once you recognize the love of God, please try to share it with others by giving the kyoten like this: the laws of the sun, the book of truth, to the people around you. Thank you very much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you next week. By then, so long. Bye-bye.